And back to our breaking news. North Korea has just released 22-year-old American student Otto Warmbier. This after spending more than a year in prison there. He had been sentenced to 15 years of hard labor. And according to his family in a statement just released, he's being medevaced out of the country, and he is also in a coma and has been in a coma since March of 2016. Let me bring in right now. Let me discuss what has happened here. And, of course, you've got Dennis Rodman in the country at the same time. All of this. Daily Beast columnist Gordon Chang is here. He's also the author of Nuclear Showdown, North Korea Takes on the World. And Balbina Wong, she's a former senior advisor to Ambassador Christopher Hill. Both, thank you very much for being here. So, Gordon, let me just get your reaction to the fact that Otto Warmbier, they say he's in a coma, and they say he's been in a coma since March of 2016. That is mind-boggling.
It's a horrific regime, and we have to understand that's the nature of the Kim family. You can have Dennis Rodman go there and praise Kim Jong-un, as he's done on his previous trips, but we got to remember that that's just Dennis Rodman being Dennis Rodman. This is, Kim Jong-un is one of the worst despots in the history of the world. There's just not much more you can say about it than that.
We'd heard from Will Ripley, from his contacts and from sources and from the State Department. They say that this is a strange coincidence that Dennis Rodman is in the country at the same day, on the same day that Otto Warmbier is released. Do you think there is a connection? Do you think this is a strange coincidence?
No, this is not a coincidence. I think what the North Koreans are trying to do basically is start talks with the United States. I don't know if the Chinese have been leaning on them to do that, and that's also a real possibility. But one way or another, the North Koreans want to talk. And so what they've done is they decided to release one of the people that we want, Otto Warmbier. And at the same time, they thought that they could start a back channel to President Trump with one of his friends. Dennis Rodman is the only person in the world who knows both Kim Jong-un and Donald J. Trump. So this is a perfect opportunity for the North Koreans to start a dialogue. And so I think you have to look at those two events in that context.
Balbina, it's almost impossible to kind of wrap your mind around all of these various elements. But can I just also get your reaction just on the most personal level? It is impossible for me to wrap my mind around the fact that this 22-year-old boy has been in a coma for, according to his parents, for over a year. And his offense was trying to take down a propaganda banner from the hotel he was in. He didn't even take it. He left it there on the floor, and then he was arrested at the airport. And he's been in a coma for a year.
Well, it is certainly very shocking, but unfortunately not at all surprising. We have to remember again, as Gordon Chang just stated, this is a regime that goes back 60 years or more and has actually terrorized and brutalized many U.S. citizens, including, killing over 30,000 Americans during the Korean War, and many were in POW camps. Many thousands are still unaccounted for. So, again, this is really not very surprising, although shocking.
What does can you decipher the State Department statement for me, Balbina, as you work there? I'll read it again. I just want to read it for our viewers. At the direction of the President, the Department of State has secured the release of Otto Warmbier from North Korea. Mr. Warmbier is en route to the United States, where he'll be reunited with his family. The Department of State continued to have discussions with the DPRK regarding 3 other U.S. citizens reported detained. Out of respect for the privacy of Mr. Warmbier and his family, we have no further comment on Mr. Warmbier, other than saying that Dennis Rodman had no hand in it. It's a coincidence he's there as a private citizen. Can you take me behind the scenes what's going on right now?
Yes, well, I think that's a masterful and very typical diplomatic statement, which I think is not a bad thing at this current time of tensions. Now, I do think that, I don't think the U.S. government is being disingenuous. I do think that the timing, perhaps, is coincidental, that Dennis Rodman arrives on the exact same day. However, what is not a coincidence are these two acts. And again, Gordon Chang, I agree with him. I do think that this is an indication that North Korea is interested in opening some dialogue with the United States. Now, we have to be very careful. This dialogue is not going to include anything that, frankly, we are most interested in, which is North Korea's nuclear programs and its missile programs. And that is made very clear. And so what North Korea is trying to do with Dennis Rodman is to completely separate sort of personal diplomacy, perhaps even directly with President Trump, but separate out all the issues that, frankly, that matter to us the most.
That matter to and should matter to every American, and from Washington onward. Balbina, Gordon, thank you both for bringing the perspective. I really appreciate it. The good news here is that he is released, and he will be back with his family very soon. Our hopes, prayers, and best wishes are with the Warmbier family right now.